Over lunch at the Hurlingham Club, just outside of London, a chance remark. "You Americans play polo?" "Really?" This prompted a cable to the States, a challenge, and plans for the first international polo match were set in motion. In Newport, summer home of the Westchester Polo Club, the best players in the United States and Great Britain would meet for the first time to compete for a new prize, the International Challenge Trophy, known today simply as the Westchester Cup. The Americans pinned their hopes on the skills of their best players, but were soon schooled by the English in team play. John Watson's backhand shot also stunned the U.S. players. They had never before seen a polo ball hit that way. England easily won both matches, 10-4 and 14-2. And the new trophy sailed across the Atlantic. In 1902, the Americans sent a team to England in hopes of winning back the cup, but they were disappointed. And then came the Big Four. In 1909, the United States sent Harry Payne Whitney, brothers Lawrence and Monty Waterbury, and Devereux Milburn to England. For the trip, they packed a bolder style of play, free-roaming and hard-hitting, with Milburn attacking from the back, the Waterbury brothers passing brilliantly, and Whitney captaining the team very, very loudly. On a string of the finest ponies ever gathered, they rode to victory, 9-5 and 8-2, bringing the cup back home. American polo had well and truly arrived. England mounted unsuccessful challenges in 1911 and 1913, but in 1914, Harry Payne Whitney retired, breaking up the Big Four. The new American team did not gel. The British, on the other hand, had an excellent team, and won decisively, escorting the trophy back across the Atlantic to Britain. In 1921, the United States challenged, led by Tommy Hitchcock Jr., whose father had vied for the cup in the first matches of 1886. At Hurlingham, the British were stunned by the long hitting of Hitchcock and Devereux Milburn, the accuracy of Lewis Stoddard and J. Watson Webb. Cruising to victory with scores of 11-4 and 10-6, the Americans returned the cup to the United States. In 1924 and 27, Malcolm Stevenson stepped in for Stoddard on the American team, and it was a seamless transition. Playing at Meadowbrook, the British challengers could not solve this formidable problem. In 1930, the international matches drew more than 40,000 spectators to Meadowbrook each day, the greatest crowds ever to watch polo. Eric Pedley, Earl Hopping, Tommy Hitchcock, and Winston Guest were all about attack, and long practices at speed had the players and their horses ready to go. Louis Lacey, a Canadian-born Argentine player who represented both Great Britain and Argentina in international competitions, was the bright spot for the British, accounting for half of the team's goals, while defending as brilliantly as one man could. In 1936, the Americans again defended successfully, but this time their combined margin of victory was a scant 3 goals. In 1939, the Americans almost fielded the first 40-goal team in polo history, but Cecil Smith was injured just weeks before, and so 10-goalers Tommy Hitchcock, Stuart Iglehart, and Michael Phipps brought in 9-goaler Winston Guest. In spite of fielding a solid lineup of Robert Skeen, Aidan Rourke, Gerald Balding, and Eric Tyrrell Martin, the British had a cumulative handicap of just 30 goals and faced daunting odds. The United States opened with an 11-7 win. In the second match, a final goal from Tyrrell Martin ended the game with England on the short end of a 9-4 score. The revival of the Westchester Cup in 1992 provided the closest, most exciting game since the Big Four invaded England in 1909. With the score tied in the second overtime, Owen Reinhardt drove the ball toward the British goal. His shot was drifting wide when Gobin swooped in, took an offside backhand, and put the ball through the goal, retaining the Westchester Cup for the United States. In 1997, more than 25,000 spectators packed the Guards Polo Club, but it didn't begin well for the home team. Early wagering was on the Americans, with 10-goalers Mike Azzaro and Memo Gracita in the lineup. And 3 goals from Gracita had the U.S. up 3-1 at the end of the first chukker. But Great Britain rallied, took a commanding 9-3 lead into the second half, and never looked back. The final score was 12-9, and Great Britain had its first Westchester Cup victory since 1914. After 76 years, the Westchester Cup was in the care of Great Britain again. And with the 2009 renewal, this classic rivalry continues.